man. Well, welcome, bro. How you
Yeah,
been?
bro. Good, buddy.
How's
Yourself?
Good, bro. Good. How's the city, bro? I mean, you know, how long you been out there anyway?
So I've been living in Seattle since last May, and it's nice, man. It's a good vibe. It's a good vibe.
Yeah.
I've kind of always wanted to live in a city, though. Like that was always my goal.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you know, I grew up here in Othello my whole life, and it's nice. I liked it too because in a certain way, like you get to really meet people for who they are. Like people, like in the city, I feel like people could easily just pretend to be someone they're not.
I have no idea.
You don't see them a lot. Like here, you see people so much. Like you know who they are. You know who their family is. That could be a positive or a negative. You know, like
yeah. So when you were here, like in your senior year in high school, did you already have in mind to go to WSU, to go to a university? How was that experience? Do you still remember that at all?
Yeah, it was crazy, man. To be honest with you, I didn't think I could go to a university. Senior year, I already kind of knew. That's when I actually applied to WSU. And I was kind of set on WSU because for me, it was between WSU and UW. Those were the two schools I was looking at. I think I had the grades to get into both. So I was like, okay, like it's gonna come down to like what I prefer. And at the time, I didn't want to do Seattle. I didn't want to do UW because I was like, one, I'm the first one in my family, or one of the first ones in my family to go to college. Right. You know, and like to be doing it in a city where I don't really know, like I don't know, the city would be new and the college would be new, so it would be two brand new things at once. I was like, I'd rather just do like a small town like Pullman, and then, you know, just let the college be the focus. Yeah, it was kind of crazy. For college, for me, I remember having this conversation with one of my teachers because I was taking the psychology class, AP psychology. I used to want to get into psychology. I ended up going with business, and so I was taking this advanced placement psychology class. I think it was my junior year in high school. And my teacher pulled me aside. He's like, "Oh, you know, have you thought about college? Like, what do you want to do?" He's like, I notice you get really good grades on the exams, but you don't really like, you fall asleep a lot in class. He's like, what's going on with that? I was like, well, I work. Like at the time I was working almost full time. Oh shit. Here at Burger King. So I was putting in a lot of hours, and I was still going to school, and I was trying to manage these like tough classes. He's like, have you thought about college though? You know, what's the next step for you? He's like, I feel like you could, you know, you should definitely go to college. And you should have a plan for that. And I told him straight up, I was like, it's kind of funny looking back at it, how how much knowledge I lacked. But he was just like, I told him, I was like, you know, college isn't for me. Like I don't think I can go to college because, you know, like we can't afford it, and nobody in my family really does that. So like, I think if anything, I'll probably just go to like community college or something. Right. I was like, if anything, like, you know, and I was more leaning towards no, like I just want to work. And he was kind of like, oh, like you should definitely go to college. Like you should definitely like apply to like WSU or something. You know, look into it. You have good grades. And I started looking into it. I learned about financial aid, and that was a game changer. Like I didn't know that the government gives you money to go to school. Right. Like, in my mind, that was too good to be true. You know, growing up like Mexican, you're kind of like, you don't get nothing for skeptical. Free. You're skeptical about everything. Like there's no way they're gonna pay me to go to school. Like, especially the government. Yeah, I'm just a Mexican, like, you know, from Othello. Like they don't care about people like me. But yeah, man, ended up applying, got that financial aid, and yeah, it was just crazy when I started school and I just saw that, you know, the government paid for everything. I was like, wow, like now I just got to worry about like, you know, feeding myself and paying my rent. I was like, all right, I pulled out loans just so I didn't have to work, so I could focus on school. So oh shoot, that's dope, man. It was a good way to do it. Like I never felt like the minority. But then when I went to WSU, I think the Latino population at WSU is, I want to say, maybe 13% now. Jeez, still low. And it's pretty low, and it's like, it's at the highest it's ever been. But it's super low compared to here, you know. It's mostly white students there. And like, I just remember like being there, and it was just weird, man. Like the biggest thing for me was having a community. So out there, I was in this program called CAMP, and it's pretty cool. It's the College Assistant Migrant Program. That's what it stands for. And it's like it's a program for like migrant students. So like students who came from a background of like their families worked in like the fields and and stuff. And so I qualified for that program, and yeah, man, I met like another 50 people who were in that program with me, who also just started college, and were also like, you know, on the same boat as me.
And when you were there, you joined a fraternity, right?
I did, yeah. I would say that was definitely another, like, because once I left the program after your first year, you know, you're not in the program anymore technically.
Right.
So I joined the fraternity my second semester of my first year. There's these big, like, kind of networking events where you can come and see what kind of clubs there is on campus that you want to join.
Yeah.
And the fraternity I ended up joining would always be at these things, and they would have like a poster board with like facts about the fraternity, and like all these guys were all dressed up all the time, like suited up.
Right.
And it was just kind of cool, you know. I saw that they were all dressed up, and I was like, man, that's a good look. Like, I kind of want to, like, I want to do that, you know. And I saw like a lot of them were Mexican, so I was like, man, I went up to their table one time, and I was like, man, like, what are you guys about? You know, like, what do you guys do? And, you know, they gave me the whole spiel, like, you know, we're a service-based fraternity. You know, we do 30 hours of community service. We give back to the community. We raise money. We donate to certain causes. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, you know. And then I got to know some of the guys, and they were like genuinely really smart guys, and I could tell that they had good heads on their shoulders, and like they were going places in their lives and careers. So I was like, you know what? I think I can do this. Like, I think this would be like beneficial for me. And I ended up joining, and yeah, I spent the rest of my college career as a part of that fraternity. Ended up taking on leadership positions. I ended up becoming president of the fraternity, actually. So.
Were you born in Mexico, or were you born here?
So I was actually born in Mexico.
Really?
Yeah. I was born in Uruapan, Michoacán.
Uruapan Michoacán, okay.
I didn't grow up there at all, though. I came to the U.S. when I was 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, undocumented, came to the U.S. 2 years old, crossed the classic way, you know, crossed the line. And yeah, man, came to the U.S. It was crazy, though. I didn't know I was undocumented. Like, I had no idea, bro. Like, I didn't know until, I want to say I was probably like 7 or 8 when I, like, you know when you're about 7 or 8, that's when your brain really starts moving, and you're like, hold up,
what's going on here?
Wait, like, what are we? I'm like, we're different, right? Like, I'm seeing TV, you know, and like you can see, like, you know, this was when a lot of people were being deported, like I think in like the Bush administration or something.
Right.
And yeah, I was like, hold up, like they don't want us here, like, you know, we're like illegals, like we're aliens, you know. I would hear all these things, and I was like, I don't understand. So, like, you know, someone explained to me, I don't know if it was my mom or someone in my family, eventually, like, told me, and I was like, oh, damn. I was like, that's when I found out, like, you know, like, the things that I couldn't do, like, it was crazy. I think the saddest moment, it's kind of funny looking back at it now, but the saddest moment I had was when I realized I couldn't be president.
Damn, really?
Yeah, I was, like, in 2nd grade, and I remember, and I was like, we were in class, and I was like, you know, like, what do you have to do to be a president? You know, it was like one of those little, like, can't really call it history class, probably like, what is it, like social studies, I think is what the kids have. And I asked, I was like, you know, what does it take to be president? Like, you know, and they were like, oh yeah, you gotta be 35 years old, you gotta be this, and then the last thing, you gotta be born in the United States. And I was like, shit.
Damn.
I was like, I wasn't born in the United States. I was like, oh man, I was sad. I remember clearly, but I was so sad that day.
Sheesh,
I was like so disappointed. I was like, man, I wanted to be the president. And I think at about 10 years old, we finally got our residencies.
Oh shit.
When I was 10, and then last year I actually got my citizenship.
Damn. Did you have to wait the whole time, or did you just put it in movement like later?
I really like kind of slacked on it, to be honest. I think as soon as I turned 18 is when I could have done it. Yeah, I just waited too long, to be honest. It was like, it wasn't a priority, because as a resident you basically have a lot of the same like rights as a citizen. I think the only thing is, like, you have to renew it, so it's not like permanent.
Right.
And then the other thing is that like, I think if you break like a certain amount of laws, or like if you're really in trouble like with the law, they could revoke your residency, I think.
Oh shit.
But once you're a citizen, I think you're good. So that was like that was the main reason why I was like, yeah, I just need to get it. But it took like, I want to say like 6 months.
Really?
6 months, yeah, just to like fully go through the whole process.
Oh, really?
I went to go do the test, and then they give you a ceremony date like a month later.
Oh, shit.
And I actually came, and it was a bunch of other people. It was in a courthouse. Like a judge physically hands you like your citizenship like paper.
Oh shit!
People were crying. People were like super emotional. It was a cool moment. It was a cool moment.
But so you coming from Mexico? You said your mom was a single mom.
Single mom. Yeah.
Single mom.
Yeah. So my dad stayed in Mexico. She divorced him and came to the U.S.
Oh shoot.
So yeah. So single mom. Yeah, man. It was tough, man. Like growing up, I was the oldest. Like, no, I have an older brother and an older sister, but they stayed in Mexico.
Oh, okay.
So when I came to the U.S., it was just me.
Oh, okay.
And then my mom had my little brother, but she didn't stay with my little brother's dad.
Okay.
Like after she had him, you know, they had like a co-parenting relationship and everything. But yeah, so I was kind of like the big brother, kind of like quote unquote man of the house. I know that's kind of an outdated term.
Right,
a lot of people don't really like that, but you know, it's, you know, at least when I was growing up, that was still kind of a thing. So I had to be kind of like, I felt, I don't know, it was kind of like unspoken, but I felt that responsibility since a little kid. Kind of like, okay, like I gotta be responsible. I gotta look out for my little brother. I gotta make sure my mom's good. I was like, I can't really be wilding out like some of these other kids that I see out here. So yeah, it was weird. It kind of felt like I grew up fast because of that. Because I had to be like emotionally intelligent since a young age. I had to be able to be like, okay, like, you know, I don't know, you know, like we don't have enough money for this. Like I had to know, like, you know, I'm not gonna ask for this super expensive thing. Like, you know, I'm like, we don't have it like that, you know. So I gotta like relax a little bit. And the moment I could start working, I started working. I think I had my first like odd job at like, I want to say like 11, 12 years old.
What? That's wild.
Yeah, man. I was like helping my stepdad at the time do like brickwork.
Shit.
Yeah, so I was like, man, I got to bring in my own money. I was like, if I want nice things, I need to make, you know, nice things money. So.
Right. How much were you getting paid?
Like minimum wage at the time, bro. Like, what was, dude, it's crazy. At like this point, it probably sounds like chump change. I want to say like $8 bucks.
Yeah, it had to be around there.
Yeah, that was back in like the mid 2000s. Yeah, but no, I think that those experiences though were like the most. I think that that's what shaped me for who I am today. I think without those experiences, I would have been a completely different person. It just humbled me like insanely. It was like, you know, taught me the value of $1 for one, and it also taught me to respect hard work, and to respect everybody's work. Like no matter what people do, like I don't judge people off their occupation or like what they studied or didn't study. For me, it's everybody grinds, everybody eats, and everybody, you know, everybody wakes up the same, you know, the same way I do. Like we all wake up and we all go grind that, you know.
So you have met your dad then and everything? I
have met my dad, yeah. So my dad, he passed away.
Oh shit.
What are we in, 2019, 2020? Like he passed away in 2014, so going on 6 years.
Shit.
Yeah.
So how was that for you?
That was tough, man. Yeah. And that's, I guess, another factor, too, because he passed away right when I was about to go into graduate high school and go to college.
Oh, shit.
So that was, like, that spring. Like, literally, like, 5 months from then, I was about to go to WSU.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, so that was tough, man. Found out that, you know, he passed away. Yeah, bro, it was just kind of one of those things. We flew out, me and my older brother, we flew out like literally that day, like that night, or the next day early in the morning. I can't really remember, but we got there, went to his funeral, first funeral I had ever attended. So I was like, it was weird. Oh, shit, I can't say I was really that close to him, you know, because I never lived with him, but I mean, at the end of the day, that's my dad, you know. So it was still sad to see, like, you know, my whole family mourning for him. And I was sad too, because, you know, that's my pops. Like, I was like, he never got to see me like grow up and like be an adult. I think I was barely like 18 at the time, so I was like barely, you know, becoming a man and figuring out my own life. But yeah, no, it was interesting. It was interesting going through all of that.
So like now, you mentioned earlier you interned at Boeing. Yeah. And then you actually got hired at Boeing.
I got hired, full time.
How was that, man? I feel like that's crazy because that's a big ass company. I see it at every Seahawk post game interview. They have the Boeing Seahawk thing there.
Yeah, man. Honestly, it was crazy, bro. Like, I don't even know how to explain the feeling. Like, when I got the internship, I was like, wow, like, this is an opportunity of a lifetime, you know. I need to show up to work every day early, like polish my shoes, like shine my face, like everything, bro. Like I was like, I gotta be ready, like, for this. And that's what I did, you know, like, because they came for a career fair at WSU, And I went up to their table. And it's kind of a funny story, too, because kind of an inspirational story, I guess you could say, because I was, like, walking up to the table, and it was a line. Everybody was talking to Boeing, like, wanted to talk to Boeing. Like, there was other companies, but they didn't have, like, this long line like Boeing did. So I had to wait, bro. I was waiting for, like, I want to say a solid 10 minutes. And I got to the front of the line, finally. And I went up to the guy, like the representative from Boeing, and I shook his hand, told him like I had like an elevator speech, a little bit about myself, like my experience and why I want to work for Boeing. And he asked me a question. He was like, what industry, something about what industry I'm interested in working for. I was like, I don't really like know what industry yet. I was just like, I just know I want to work for a bigger company like Boeing, like, you know, I like what they make and this and that. And he's like, that's straight up kind of like a dick, bro. Like, that's not the right answer. He's like, that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for people who are passionate about the aerospace industry and this and that. And I was like, well, I didn't say I wasn't like interested in aerospace. I'm just not like I'm not bleeding aerospace, you know?
Right.
And so he kind of just gave me the cold shoulder. He's like, yeah, I'm not. He's like, maybe you can talk to other people, but like, I'm not interested. I was like a dick, bro, like a dick. So I like did not give up. I went back in the line, this long line that I had just waited 10 minutes just to get rejected for. Walked up again, I talked to every single person there because I was like, no, I'm determined. Like, I'm gonna get this. And I ended up getting the interview, and then I interviewed, and I found out I got the internship like a month later.
So so did you have to go to that dude again?
No. So he didn't interview me. Thank God.
Okay.
Yeah, that would have been horrible. That would have been the worst thing ever.
That's crazy, man. That's dope that you went back. I think most people would have been like, man, fuck Boeing. Like,
yeah, right. I did kind of feel like that, man. I was pissed. I was pretty mad. I was like, wow, like, okay, it hurts, but hey, we're gonna keep trying, and it worked out. You know, I work for the company now, so I'm thankful that I didn't like react the way I probably wanted to react.
So what do you do there now?
So now I'm in a business rotational program.
Okay.
So it's basically like they have these a lot of companies have this now in business where their early career people is what they categorize me as, like, because I'm just out of college, started my career. They have like these programs where you switch jobs every few months.
Okay.
It varies by company, but the one I'm in right now is every 4 months. I switch jobs for a total of 2 years. So it's 6 positions.
Oh, shit, okay.
And the purpose of that is so that I can get like a wide variety of experiences and then like use that once I move forward in my career. So like 5 years from now, if I want to become like a manager or something, like I have different pockets of knowledge I can pull from and different people in my network. Yeah, I remember when I first moved out there, I couldn't even believe it, man. Like I'd be driving around, I'd be driving to work, and I'm just like walking into this office, and I'm like all dressed up. I'm like, damn, like this is my life. Like
that's dope,
this is real life. Like,
that's crazy, bro. I'm super proud of you, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you, bro.
I'm excited to see like where this journey takes you, bro.
Yeah, man.
Super inspiring, man, to see where you were to where you are, and just I can only imagine where you're going to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like 10, 15 years from now.
Crazy, man. Life's a trip.
It's crazy, bro. It's super ill, man, and thank you for being on.
Yeah, bro. Thank you.
Appreciate you, man. I love everything you're doing.
Yeah, hell yeah, bro. Anytime. Yeah. Oh, man. Thanks for having me, for real.
For sure, bro.
It was dope. Yeah, bro. Thank you. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.